Hi guys. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Please let me know in like the Q&A section if you guys can hear me so that way I know that everything is working on my end. Perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know. Perfect. Wonderful. There's a smudge on my glasses that's killing me. There it is. All right. Okay, guys. So today we're going to be doing a seminar. I'm going to show you guys a PowerPoint presentation, pretty much, about foundations, foundation fundamentals, stuff like that. Just a quick little introduction. My name is Lilly Jamoua. I am a local Chicago makeup artist and esthetician. I do predominantly bridal. I've also done photo shoots. I've done things on camera. I was also in, I think, like the first episode of the last season of Married at First Sight. I did one of the bride's makeups and I was on the show. Very interesting experience to be on like a reality as like a background person. You're just like quiet the whole time. Anyway, and then during the week, I do esthetician work, as in like facials and laser hair removal. So I know stuff about skin as well. And we do skincare 101 classes here and there. I have a few new classes that's going to be coming up in the next few months that I'm really excited about. I'm going a little bit more deeper with skincare. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure to look out for those. Perfect. Thank you guys for letting me know you can hear me. Okay, so we're going to get started. Let me just share my screen. 1 second. And then also wanted to say at the end of the PowerPoint, you're going to see my email on there. You guys can more than welcome to email me, request this PowerPoint, the PowerPoint slides. It's going to be like PDFs. And then you can also, ask me any questions. And then also, suggest anything that you want to learn about makeup and skincare because it's always great for me to, understand what you guys want to learn about and make some seminars out of things that you guys are more curious about. All right, so let's get started. Let's start it. Okay, foundation fundamentals. So this whole seminar is going to be about foundations, how to, understand them a little bit better, kind of get to know what foundations are, how to use them, how to shade match yourself, which is pretty much how to get your shade or your match with a foundation. And then kind of going from there. So what is a foundation? What are foundations? Foundation is a type of makeup that is applied to the face. It creates an even complexion, helps evening out the skin tone. They come in different shades and undertones and finishes, meaning like what it looks like when it dries down. Obviously, not all foundations are made equally. A lot of them are different, a lot of them are similar, and then a lot of them serve certain purposes. Let me just move that. Okay, thank you. There we go. Okay, so the shades and undertones. So shade meaning the color, but obviously the shade in, like here in this picture, you can see this gradient. So this is very fair, whereas we get darker in complexion as we go down. Okay, so almost all foundation lines have very extensive shade range. Some don't, some do. It just all depends. So just like I said, foundations come in shades that range from light to dark or light to deep. Undertones like cool, warm, olive, neutral. And then foundations come in different finishes, which is satin, matte, and dewy. There's also, they use the word radiant a lot. Um, Matte, and then a lot of the matte ones are oil free. So anybody who has oily skin, you would want to use more of a matte finish. And then this picture is an example of undertones. So you want to use this as like a very rough guide because this is kind of something that people talked about a lot from a very long time ago is that you can figure this out by the color of your veins. But obviously, not everyone can see like what color their veins are. Like some people don't really know what color they are. They can't really tell. Just depends, you know. And so you kind of want to do like a guesstimation game on what you think you are. And then obviously with trial and error, as you buy foundations, you try out different shades, try out different undertones, you will find what works best for you eventually. Obviously too, when you're in summer months and then winter months are different. Sometimes we're a little bit darker in our, in our skin tone. We've gotten some sun. So you want to think about that too. A really good way to get your shade match is to go to your local Sephora. I tell everybody this in almost every seminar that has to do with anything foundation. Um, they will take like a picture of the skin on your arm, I think your neck and your chest or your cheek, one of those, and they will have their little handheld machine pinpoint your shade, pinpoint your undertone, and then they will let you know all of the foundations and your specific shade they have in store. Not every like name brand or not every foundation line will have what you need, so you just have to keep that in mind. But that's a really good easy way to get that done. So if you're ever like wondering if you need to go do that, you can definitely do that. And even if you don't wear makeup a lot and you need to wear makeup for these types of situations, and I've told you guys before in my other seminars where I show you on ready makeup while I'm doing it, that sometimes you're in charge and you're responsible to put your own makeup on before set, coming to set, whatever it may be, whatever they want you to do on your call sheet. So you have to make sure that you have what you need to get that done. So, if you need to go get your shade matched at a Sephora, go and do it, even if you're not buying anything that day. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys an application of foundation and what she does. And then I want to pinpoint out a few things that I don't like that she does. So in this picture, it's a primer, which you don't always have to wear primer. Primers are not always needed. It depends. I like to use a primer if someone's very oily. So that would be a silicone-based, oil-free primer. And that is going to make those areas look matte on your face. It's going to eliminate shine. The one that she has, it looks like it's the Smashbox one that's like a moisturizing. Just use your moisturizer. I don't feel like you need a primer that is hydrating if you already have a moisturizer. It's kind of like buying two products when they do the same thing. And then she has a foundation and then a foundation brush. This is what we would call a kabuki brush. Don't ask me why that's the name, but that is the name. It is a short, very densely packed brush. And this is something that you can use to apply foundation with. The white tips on this brush indicate that you can use it with a liquid foundation or anything that's liquid because it's a synthetic brush. The hairs will not absorb the liquid, it will lay it on your skin instead. This foundation that she's using, by the way, is extremely heavy coverage. This foundation does not exist anymore. Marc Jacobs no longer has a makeup line, actually. So their whole makeup line is gone. But this foundation was very infamous in the early 2016s, I think 2015, 2016. This was like every influencers, like social media, YouTube makeup person's holy grail because it was so full coverage. Like it is literally painting your face. So you're going to see her painting her face pretty much. And I want you guys to notice the color of the foundation next to her skin. Like as she's applying it, what does the color, and you can answer it in the Q&A section, what does the color of the foundation look like compared to her skin or next to her skin? I'm going to just play the video. I'm going to pretty much talk you through her whole process, but you're not going to hear anything. I don't know why. I can't get like audio to work on here for you guys. But let's just skip through a little bit. So she's just going to apply her primer with her hands. That's like no biggie, but I'll let you guys watch it. She's literally applying it like like she would apply moisturizer. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to skip through a little bit. Let's see. So that was her applying her primer. She's going to go in with her foundation, of course, doing the classic influencer hand behind product. You always want to shake up your foundation, whatever liquid, makeup you're using, you always want to shake it up. You always want to make sure that the pigment is evenly coated or evenly dispersed within the product. So this is the kabuki brush I was talking about. So you can see how the bristles are very short, densely packed. Like those are a lot of bristles in that brush. It's not a fluffy brush. It's a very densely packed brush. So she's applying the foundation onto the brush. I personally would apply the foundation, like I would take the foundation, put it on the back of my hand, and apply it to my face that way instead of putting it on the brush. As you can see, like she has a lot of foundation in certain areas and then not in some. So it's a very not even application so far, which does not do very well with certain foundations. So you want to like just be careful with that. What I would do is I would take the foundation, put it on the back of my hand, and then I always say load up your brush. So I want to evenly disperse the product within the brush before I get it onto me. So then that way you get an even coverage as you're going. But this is where I want you guys to see where the color, like the difference between her face and the foundation. And you guys tell me what you see. I wish she wasn't moving so much. There you go. Now she's getting closer. Do you see anything different or specific about the foundation compared to her skin? Or I would say, I'll give you a hint, the undertone of her skin. She's just doing swiping motions. You could do this, or you can stipple on, which is like just pouncing the brush on your face. Like I said, this foundation is so heavy coverage. Like you do not need to make sure that you're packing it on. Yes, thank you. I hope Tanya, that's how correct how I said your name. It looks yellow to me. Yes, it does. So the undertone of this foundation is yellow, and her undertone is not yellow. Um, Tammy said there is a big difference in her skin tone to the foundation. Yes, thank you. I'm so happy you guys can see it. So it's very hard for us to see it on ourselves, but it's so easy to see it on other people. So if you guys just do practice that, like kind of, do some research when it comes to makeup, watch some makeup videos, even just to see how people do things. Even if you feel like they're not doing something right, which there's no right or wrong with makeup, it's not a big deal that she's using this foundation undertone. Because if she just takes this down her neck, it is such a thick foundation, you wouldn't even tell that that's not her undertone. So, not a big deal. Like she did it and you can kind of tell. But I would say, go back so I can look again. So, kind of looking at the veins under her eyes and looking at this skin compared to the foundation, I would say she has somewhat more of a cool undertone. Cooler undertones pull more pink looking. Warm undertones pull more yellow looking. I know it's weird, but like thinking about that with the color and the word is kind of different. It's kind of weird because they're different, but so that's just the rule in makeup. Every brand does it very differently. So you can get a brand that claims that this shade is cool, but it's yellow. So it's just all over the place, but that's a general term for it. So she would be more cool toned, whereas her foundation is more warm toned. So she does not have the right undertone. She has the right shade. So the shade is a good, fair, probably light color, like a 3 or 4 if there's like the number scale, or 2 or 3. And her undertone is not right. So I'm glad you guys saw that. That's literally all that I needed you guys to see and kind of understand. So when you guys are doing your own foundations or even matching to your own foundations, it's a great tool to use, or great info to know. So if you want to match your foundation, I always put it on the back of my hand on my wrist because my veins are right there. And then also you can kind of see your undertone the best. All right. Let's see. I don't want to restart it. Next. Right. So types of foundation. So there are liquid foundations, which is most likely the most common thing you've heard. You probably have liquid foundation of your own. It's the most sold type of foundation because it is very versatile. It comes in all of the different finishes, and it's very easy for distributors and for makeup companies to make in a lot of different undertones and shades. So, like I said, it's the most commonly used foundation in the market. Um, but yeah, and this is like what you'll see most in Sephora's and stuff. And it's the easiest to use. I would say like for consumer based, for people who don't do a lot of makeup or, apply a lot of makeup, they don't have a lot of practice in it. Liquid foundation is very easy to use, very, consumer friendly. So that's something to know. Tinted moisturizers. So tinted moisturizers, there's like a lot of different kind, and each brand kind of have their own version of a tinted moisturizer. They're very lightweight, they're hydrating to the face, feels like lotion. Sometimes they start out white, and then once you put it to your face, it kind of like matches your skin tone and it evens out your skin tone. It's pretty cool. It's like this weird, it's a cool, weird technology that they have. It is a cross between foundations and day creams. Can be used standalone product or it can be used as a base product. So sometimes if someone wants a more fuller coverage, they'll put on a tinted moisturizer. If they don't have a very full coverage foundation already, they can put a tinted moisturizer under their foundation, and they will also benefit from the SPF that are in most tinted moisturizers. Also, know that they have SPF. So if people are sensitive to SPF, just make sure you're checking the label and seeing if it has it in there or not. There are oil-free tinted moisturizers, and then there are tinted moisturizers for obviously to moisturize and to make sure that you're not dry. So this is a good picture to know of different types, different price points, different brands. So like this Neutrogena is more moisturizing, and then this Laura Mercier says oil free. So this is more so for our oily girlies and guys. Someone said something about having a reddish undertone. Yes, you can have a reddish undertone. You can have a gold undertone. You just have to really like if you go on the Sephora website or the Ulta website and you're looking up different foundations, you have to read the description on each foundation shade that you're looking at because you can really find the undertone in it. But I understand where you're coming from because I have a very olive skin undertone to my skin. I'm neutral and olive. Sometimes I pull more olive when I'm a lot more tan. I am Middle Eastern. So it's very hard to find olive undertones with a little bit of neutral in a lot of different foundation lines because it's not very common either. So they do have them, but it's just they're not as common as just cool and warm undertones. So I understand, but if you read the description, you might be able to find a good foundation line that has a red undertone. I know Rihanna's brand has a lot of undertones within her foundation line. It's called Fenty Beauty. Maybe at the end, if we have time, I'll go to Sephora and we can kind of like read descriptions together and see if we can find like different undertones that they say in there. And maybe we can find some matches for some of you. Yeah, but different price points. So like Maybelline and Neutrogena are more so drugstore, whereas like Laura Mercier, Say, and Ilia are more prestige. They are a little bit more on the pricier side. They are in Sephora, and they are what they call like a higher end brand of makeup. Okay, so next, cream foundations. It's a type of makeup that can be applied to the face and neck to create even complexion, just like all the rest. They are more of a thicker consistency than liquid foundations. Um, Sometimes it does mean more coverage, but really it means that they are a lot more moisturizing and emollient than any other foundation. So cream foundations, I never suggest for my oily clients, but they do come in matte finishes, but they're just like the more thicker like consistency that I don't really like a lot to for more of my oily skin clients. So You can try them out. They're not as popular. Some brands have them and most don't. A lot of brands have them in concealer form, where it's like a pot, just like in this picture of concealer, not so much foundation. But if you're in theater and you're on stage, cream foundations and cake makeup is extremely, extremely popular. And those are like used a lot more on stage and in theater. Next, powder foundations. Powder foundations today are still very, very popular. They are more for people who have oily skin. You're very dry, like your skin type is very dry. You don't really want to be using a powder foundation. It's just going to make your skin not look that great. It's going to accentuate all the lines and things that you don't want to have come through. But it is a product that is made finely milled pigments and minerals and comes in loose and pressed form. So in this picture, this is a pressed form powder foundation. Loose is what like loose translucent powder looks like. It's literally looks like powder. It's used to cover imperfections and create smooth and even base, just like all the rest. Powder foundation is known for its lightweight finish and can provide light to medium coverage. It's often preferred by people with oily skin and can help control oil. So on set, when I was doing one of my projects, I was on a short film for all of my male actors. I didn't really use a lot of foundation on them. I did use a little bit just in certain areas just to kind of even out the skin tone. But really, I used a silicone-based primer, which mattifies the skin because you never want your skin to look shiny unless they ask for it to look shiny, because everything looks a little bit more dramatic on camera, especially if it's HD. But I use a little bit of that primer and then I just do a little bit of spot correcting, which is just doing like some foundation here and there where I feel like I need it. And then I did use a lot of powder foundation on them. Powder foundation with like a looser brush, not so much that kabuki brush that we saw in that video. That will really make the foundation look or the powder foundation look very prominent and very heavy. But if it's with a loose brush, it kind of disperses the powder foundation evenly in a thin, very like minimal order. But yeah, so those are the types. Um, I prefer liquid. There are also stick foundations too. The stick thing has been so popular in the last like 3 years. I feel like honestly since COVID, because COVID. But stick foundations, stick concealers, stick bronzers and blushes and stuff like that. Those are awesome. If you really want to make your like makeup routine super duper easy, I would really try some stick foundations and stuff like that. Those are so much fun to use, and they're super easy to use as well. Okay, so for application and brushes, you can apply with your brush. You can apply using your hands, synthetic brushes, and sponges. So the synthetic brushes are more so the brushes with white bristles and then the white tipped bristles. Um, Majority, if not all, makeup brushes nowadays are synthetic brushes because we don't use animal hair brushes anymore. We're animal cruelty free and all that stuff. But also, those brushes are very expensive. People are not really in the market to buy them anymore. And they're very hard to clean. They're very hard to maintain. So, technology came out where they started making synthetic brushes, and those were like a game changer. Now I only have really synthetic brushes in my kit. And also it helps because when I'm going and doing a wedding for makeup, I meet the bride and I'm able to do a whole consultation with her and get to know her. But when I go there day of, I have no idea. I've never met her mom. I've never met the groom's mom. I've never met any of her bridesmaids. So if I go there, I always try to make sure that I don't have anything that can cause an allergy, or if somebody does have one. And some of the animal hair bristles or natural hair bristles do cause irritation and allergies for some people. So I stay away from those. Sponges are super duper popular, have become super popular since like 2014, 2015, when the Beauty Blender was made and also became very popular. You can choose any of these things to apply your foundation. There again is no like hard rules. Only hard rule I say is to make sure your beauty blender and your brushes are cleaned often. Um, I use my hands. I use my hands for my foundation. Your hands are a great tool to use, especially with anything that's liquid applying to your face, because the warmth of your hands will really be able to melt that, foundation into your skin and make it blend so much easier and better. And fun fact, the palms of your hands do not have um, pores. So the inside of your hands have no pores. That means that my hands will not absorb the foundation. So I'm really getting that foundation on my face and it not sitting on a brush or in a beauty blender because let's not lie, some of the foundation will stay on the beauty blender or the brush, and that's a waste of money. Somebody asked what animal fur they were using. I'm not sure. Some companies were using different animals, but honestly, don't know. I never looked into them. I didn't do a lot of research on them. I just know that they caused allergies. It was some of them were animal hair, some of them were they would call them natural bristles. I have no idea what they were made out of, but I never bought them. So I didn't have to worry about that. Okay. So questions, any questions? And then again, this is my email. If we want to email me for any questions, if you want this PowerPoint, um, and if you have any other suggestions for us to um, do any other seminars. And then I will go, I stopped sharing. I'm going to go to the Sephora website just really quickly. And I am going to show you guys different foundation lines and different foundations with the undertones and all that stuff. Okay, one second. Let me get you guys back up. Let me share again so you guys can see. Okay, perfect. All right. So we're on the Sephora website. And I'm in foundations. So these are all different types of foundations. When you go to them, you're going to see different shades. You're going to see different pictures. That way, you're going to be able to find things that work for you, but also just have a visual, right? So, just a great example this is a foundation, and then this is a skin tint. Skin tints are kind of like tinted moisturizers. However, skin tints don't always have SPF in them. They're just what I would say like a lighter version of just like a regular foundation, but it is liquid. Estee Lauder is very, very matte, whereas this Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk is extremely luminescent and extremely moisturizing. So you don't want to use this on oily people, and you don't really want to use this on dry people. However, some you can get away with it if you moisturize really, really well. Okay, let's go to House Labs, which is Lady Gaga's brand. So on this page, you're going to see different pictures of different examples of different models with the numbers underneath them. And that is going to be the different shade ranges and different undertones for all of the foundations. So for an example, this is light, medium, warm. So right next to it, you see light, medium with warm, rosy, peach undertones. So in your mind, rosy and peach kind of pull pink, right? So they consider that warm. Okay. This one, or let's go to like something that looks yellow. Let's see how they describe that. Okay, so they describe it as this is so a really, really, really fair color, but the undertone is cool golden porcelain undertone. So anything that pulls yellow, they consider cool, but they're calling it golden. And then in this one, was it this one? Anything it was this one. Anything warm, they're saying it's like a rosy peach, right? Let's go to a different brand and let's see what they consider they're warm and cool and all that. Oh, that just happened. Hello. Okay. I know NARS is the undertones that I'm thinking about. Okay, so this looks more yellow, and they are considering it with warm undertones, a light yellow tone. And then let's go to something that doesn't, that looks more rosy. So this looks more pink. So they say very light with neutral undertones and a light pink tone. So it's like neutral with a little bit of pink. So like let's go to more of a medium and try to find something that's not. Oh, see, this has olive tones. So it says medium to medium deep with warm undertones, meaning it pulls a little bit yellow, but also has an olive tone. So it's a little bit yellow and green. So like me, I would not use this because this is a little bit more yellow. I want an olive tone, but with a neutral undertone. See, this would be me right here, but I'm not medium. I think I would be more on the light side, but this is medium to medium deep with neutral undertones and an olive tone. So like that's something that I would use. If they don't have one with olive tones, I would just use something that's more neutral or cool. And then let's see, with the darker shades, you will see undertones that may say warm or red tone. So this one says deep with warm undertones and a red tone. That's the undertone, the red. And then I'm there is there not a gold one in here? Did they not have a gold undertone? But just wanted you guys to see the different foundations and kind of, understand what we're talking about when we're talking about shades and undertones and finding something for yourself and really visualizing what that looks like. So, do your own research, obviously. And like I said, you could always go to Sephora, get shade matched with their little technology that they have, and it really does help. Is gold undertone more cool because yellow or gold are close? Like I said, they consider cool and warm very different with different brands. So gold to me always pulls a little bit more yellow, and sometimes they will consider that cool, sometimes they will consider that warm. So you really want to take the warm and cool out of it and just remember rosy is always on the pink side. Peach obviously is kind of like a little bit of orange, but it's like almost yellow and pink mixed together. It's in the middle. And then there's neutral, which kind of is it depends on the foundation shade. But yellow I always think of gold and then peach I always think of pink. So always keep that in mind, but take like the gold, I mean the cool and the warm out of it because it each brand is different. You have no idea like what they consider, right? Until you see it. So someone said they've been shopping for their foundations wrong. I would like to know how you've been shopping for your foundations, if you can say it real short. Like, what is the thing that you look at when you're trying to, or what do you pinpoint when you're trying to find a foundation? Obviously, you do want the foundation to feel good on your skin. You want it to not make you dry. You don't want it to make you oily. So you have to consider those things as well, like the finish. If you're more on the dry side, I would say like do a dewy foundation or a radiant foundation that will suit you a lot better than if you have more oily skin. I definitely would go with something that has a matte finish or is oil free because not everybody wants matte foundation. So, and not every brand has a matte foundation just for oily skin. They do have radiant foundations, but it's oil free, so it won't add to your oil production already. It just makes your skin look good, but it makes it not look matte. Yeah, so you can go. So they said that they matched their skin tone, but never actually read the description. I think you meant you matched to your shade and not the skin, like the undertone of it all, which everybody does that. It's not really like a really big mistake. Nobody teaches you that you're supposed to look at the undertone. And again, when makeup first started, like I don't think any of those things were really like, popular or really important because a lot of times you would just put on blush or just put on lipstick. Foundation wasn't as innovative as it is now or important. Now society makes you feel like you need to wear foundation. Like if I leave the house, I have to be wearing foundation. You don't, but it is just a lot more popular nowadays than it was before. Any other questions pertaining to foundations and how to find your match and all those things? Any other questions? Oh, what does APPs mean? What's that abbreviation mean? I don't know what that means. Is it appointment, you mean? You don't have to make an appointment if that's what that means. Um, you just walk in and you ask them, "Hey, can you shade match me?" And they'll be happy to do it. They would love to do it for you. Oh, and a really good tip, if you're gonna go to Sephora and find a match, you can do it with the person. And then, oh, an app. No, I wouldn't depend on an app on your phone. I wouldn't depend on the camera because lighting, and that's what I was just about to say. If you go into Sephora, you have someone shade match you. I would definitely go outside and kind of like look at yourself because the lighting inside Sephora is all over the place. And so you really want to have good lighting so you see exactly what you're about to buy. Um, I don't know what technology they have, if it is an app or not, but I don't think that there is an app out there for us to have. And if there is, I have never used it, and I don't know how accurate it would be. So I have no idea, to be honest with you. But no, you don't need an appointment. Also, I don't know of any apps. Somebody asked, does foundations include SPF? If yes, is that a good option? It's a catch 22 on this one. Not all foundations have SPF. I don't think majority do. Some do, some don't. Um, the bad thing about foundations with SPF, and depending, because back in the day it was different than now. Like I don't know if foundations still with SPF still do this, but if there's any flash photography, sometimes SPF can give you like a white cast to your face. So I would definitely be careful about that. Even if it's in foundations and you don't physically like see the white cast on your face, flash photography can make that happen. Um, so sometimes I don't like suggest using SPF for, like on camera stuff with your foundation. But it can be good because if you're outside, you need the SPF. But again, flash photography is not that great. So just depends on what you're using it for. If you're just getting a foundation to go on set or like to do, anything acting wise, auditions, commercials, you don't need one with SPF. You can always use a SPF moisturizer underneath if you're going to be outside, and that should work fine. Um, Someone asked, how do you know which lighting you'll be under? Cool white, bright white, etc. It makes a big difference. Exactly. So I would always suggest natural lighting being the what you compare things to. So going outside or standing in front of a window because it doesn't pull cool or warm. It shows exactly what's needed like in front of you. So I don't even know what kind of like if it's cool or warm lighting in Sephora. So that's why you always want to just like go outside. I always have them put like just a patch on my cheek. And then I go outside and I ask them, like, do you have a hand mirror I can borrow? Because they have like little areas and stations where they do people's makeup. I take the hand mirror and I just like go out, literally just quickly go outside, look, and come back inside and make my decision. I'll have them try another one and I have them put that right next to what they put on because you want to have something to compare to. So you want to have them put that first one on, go outside, check for it, and then have them put, if you want to show and like see another one, put it right next to the one you just saw. So that way you have it to compare to, and that way you can see, the different options that you have. Any other questions? Are we able to see our natural undertones on cloudy days? Yes, actually, overcast is like the best lighting. It's just any type of natural lighting. It doesn't matter. You don't really want to stand in front of the sun, obviously, but that any type of natural lighting is going to, give the best results. Let me go back to the PowerPoint so you guys can see my email, just in case you guys want the slides, so I can email it to you guys. You guys just have to email me requesting it so that I can send it to you. Any other? We're gonna wrap up shortly here, so Okay, guys, if we don't have any more questions, we're going to say goodbye. What's going on with my computer? Oh, there we go. Let me stop sharing. Okay, there we go. All right, guys. So just remember, if you guys have any questions, if you want this PowerPoint, definitely email me at the email that I just showed you guys. It's lilyjam9, right? Yeah, lilyjam9@gmail.com. And then I will see you guys next week. So I hope you guys have a really great rest of your night. Have a good rest of your week. Bye bye.